Hey, how's it going, guys? Mr. Boss for the win here, and in today's Red Dead Redemption 2 video, we're going to be talking about 10 Grand Theft Auto characters that either are featured, referenced, or make an appearance in RDR2. So there's actually more than you think, and that's what we're going to be discussing in this video today. Now, I think it's pretty obvious that the Red Dead Redemption universe and the Grand Theft Auto universe are indeed separate, but because they're obviously made by the same developer, Rockstar Games, there's going to be a lot of crossover. So anyways, let's dive into this day and let's get it started. The first reference actually happens in Chapter 5. And it's in a mission called Welcome to the New World, where you essentially land on the island of Guarma, and the gang is met by a bunch of enforcers by the sugar plantation owner on the island. And he has to sort of think of a quick name on the spot, and he comes up with this.
Gentlemen, this is quite a welcome.
Who are you?
Senor, por favor, we are no one.
What's your name?
Aiden O'Malley.
Is that so? What are you doing, Mr. O'Malley?
So the name that Dutch came up with really quickly there was Aiden O'Malley. Now, Aiden in Grand Theft Auto 4 is an Irish-American linked to criminals in Ireland and Dukes. And he was an associate of another character in that game, Derek McCreary. And what's kind of interesting is you chase Aiden all the way to a cliff where you end up shooting him off the cliff and he ends up falling down. And what's interesting is not only did Dutch use that as one of his aliases in Red Dead Redemption 2, but their deaths are also very similar. Aiden is shot backwards off of a cliff, and Dutch jumps off of a cliff, and that's how he dies at the end of Red Dead Redemption. So I'm pretty sure Rockstar did that on purpose, giving Dutch the alias Aiden O'Malley because their deaths are so similar. But that's something you might not have known about, that he was a very minor character in Grand Theft Auto 4. Character number 2 today is actually the serial killer in Red Dead Redemption 2, and that is Edmund Lowry Jr. So the serial killer is sort of a 4-part mystery that you go on in-game. You have to find the 3 clues scattered around the map. You obviously have to go to his abandoned serial killer cabin. You get knocked out, you end up fighting back, and then you end up turning the serial killer in, who admits to the sheriff that his name is Edmund Lowry Jr. And if that name sounds similar, well, that's because that's also another character from GTA 4. That character is Eddie Lowe. Do you guys see the similarities there? Edward Lowe, Edmund Lowry Jr. They're supposed to be a reference to the same character. Now, what's also interesting is that just like the serial killer in Red Dead Redemption 2, Eddie Lowe from GTA 4 is also a serial killer. Now, I could almost spend an entire video alone comparing the similarities between Eddie Lowe in GTA 4 and Edmund Lowry Jr. in Red Dead Redemption 2, but just know that their styles of committing murders are very similar. Their backgrounds are very similar in terms of their upbringing, the way they lash out at people with knives, very, very similar, and the way that the main protagonist both has to kill them in self-defense. Nico has to kill Eddie Lowe, and Arthur eventually has to kill Edmund Lowry Jr. to prevent him from attacking the sheriff. So there's a ton of similarities here, and the connection, in my opinion, is pretty obvious. So that's our second character today that makes an appearance, Eddie Lowe, or Edmund Lowry Jr. Character number 3 today is John, officially in Red Dead Redemption 2. John can actually be seen in the Valentine Saloon. You might know him as the guy who has the raccoon hat and is talking a whole lot of nonsense in game, and you can actually get into a fist fight with him and get his rare raccoon hat. Well, he actually makes an appearance in Grand Theft Auto 5. He's actually the Sasquatch hunter. And the reason we know that is the similarity of the type of hat that they're wearing, and also the fact that they are both missing one of their eyes. It's actually been damaged. Now, what's also interesting is this hunter was also featured in Red Dead Redemption as well. So I guess you could technically say he was first featured in Red Dead Redemption, then Grand Theft Auto 5, and then Red Dead Redemption 2. But either way, the similarities are very striking, sort of the odd way in which they go about doing things. Obviously, their appearance with the big beard, the injured eye, and obviously the unique hats as well. It's pretty obvious that they are a distant relative of each other, or that they are just the same character that has been through the different universes together. Character number 3 today is Francis Sinclair. So this one actually takes a little bit to explain. So Francis Sinclair is the stranger that wants you to find all of the rock carvings in-game. And essentially, long story short, you get this quest from Francis Sinclair as an adult, but when you come back to turn in all of the rock carvings, instead of him being an adult, he's actually a baby. And because of this and all the drawings that you can see inside of the cabin, many people believe that he is a time traveler. And there's also a distinct birthmark on his face that I believe means he is connected to Kraft. Now, Kraft is a deity worshipped by the Epsilon program from the GTA series. And you guys can see this is what Kraft looks like. And you can see that on their right eye, they both have that like reddish birthmark that extends on their cheek as well. So I think that Francis Sinclair is either a descendant of Kraft or is Kraft himself. And that opens up a whole nother can of worms. But that birthmark is very, very specific. And the fact that this time traveler Francis Sinclair has it and its crazy connection to the Epsilon program, I think that they are one in the same. So that is a huge connection right there to the GTA series. Our next character today, believe it or not, is Trevor Phillips. So this one is a little bit of a stretch, but I am almost convinced. So there's a character that you run into in the mission Old Habits in Epilogue Part 1. And there's actually a Laramie outlaw or a Laramie gang member that is picking on another farmhand. And I'll actually let you guys take a listen to it right now so you can not only see but hear how similar this looks and sounds to Trevor.
Leave him alone.
Oh, careful, boys. Careful.
Yeah.
Look at this tough guy.
Get out of here.
Oh, fancy pants get he's paying you to be tough for him, huh?
No, he's paying me to keep the place clean.
Oh.
Said he had some problems with vermin.
Oh, listen to this. Real funny.
Oh! Come on, get him!
So I don't know if Stephen Ogg, the voice actor and motion capture artist for Trevor Phillips in GTA 5, has officially come out and said that this is him. He might not be able to, but as we're going to talk about in a little bit, it wouldn't be shocking to see old Grand Theft Auto actors appear in Red Dead Redemption 2 as well. I don't know. The fact that they act so similar, to me, just means that they're one and the same. Like, they almost have to be the same character right there. So that's character number 5 today. And character number 6 is Michael DeSanta. Now, this one is a bit of a mystery because two things here. Number one, we have heard directly from Michael DeSanta's voice actor, Ned Luke, on Twitter, who has specifically stated that he is in Red Dead Redemption 2 in some way, shape, or form. Now, there's been a lot of people that have pointed to various photos of O'Driscoll members and people who think that he's a random NPC that you can see throughout the world. So far, no one has been able to gather like 100% hard evidence that one individual in the game or one NPC in the game is Ned Luke, or Michael DeSanta for that matter. I think there's a lot of characters that look very similar, which is why some people have been prompted to say, hey, this is Michael, or hey, this is a descendant of Michael. But for now, we can only go by what we see in the credits, which is where Ned Luke is featured, and also number 2, what he has told us on Twitter as well. Now, the only other remotely interesting story that has to do with Michael DeSanta in Red Dead Redemption 2 is apparently there was like a rumor or a hoax going around of him actually getting abducted by a third alien UFO that could be found in game. Well, it turns out that that was actually staged. It was actually faked. So for now, I think this is the biggest mystery of the bunch of all 6 characters that we're looking at today, because Ned Luke has only given us so little clues, And every time we've pointed out that he looks similar to someone, he's always shot it down. Like that O'Driscoll painting that I showed you earlier, he confirmed that that wasn't him. So he's still out there somewhere, and I don't know if or how long it's going to take for someone to find Michael. But anyways, I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments down below. Let me know if you think there's any other characters in Red Dead Redemption 2 that might be a direct reference or a descendant from one of the characters we've seen in Grand Theft Auto. Let me know your thoughts, opinions, and more in the comments down below. If you did go on to enjoy this video though, a like rating would of course be awesome. And subscribe to my YouTube channel if you are new or you like daily Red Dead Redemption 2 videos like this. With all the way, guys, like I said, thanks so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you guys in the next video.